Good. Are we good to go? Okay, thank you. All right. I will call the Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022 regular council meeting to order. Just say I hope everybody has had a good summer. It seems to have gone so quickly again, but hopefully everybody had a chance to get away. So with that, I will do the land acknowledgement. So the city of Fort Saskatchewan is located within Treaty 6 territory and Métis Nation of Alberta Region 4, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Nihilwak, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, and Métis. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples whose first steps have marked these lands for generations. It is because of our treaty relationship that we can live, work, and play on Treaty 6 territory. All right, so welcome back, everybody. We are all here. So with that, the meeting is called to order. So the first item of business is approval of the minutes of the July 5th, 2022 regular council meeting. Councillor Macon.
I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes of the July 5th, 2022 regular council meeting.
Thank you. Are there any errors or omissions? Not seeing any. I'll close the motion. Please cast your vote. That is carried unanimously. Thank you. I understand there are no delegations for this evening. None have been registered. So we will go straight into new business. 5.1 special council meeting. Brenda Moulter presenting.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and members of council. This item is before us this afternoon to request that two special meetings be scheduled with respect to the performance evaluation of the city manager. Those dates are August 30th and September 6th, starting at 1 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of council? If not, I'll take a motion. Councillor Kelly. Oh, Randall, sorry. Now you have to hit it again. Green is telling me you want to speak. Okay.
Oh, it's backwards. It's been a long time, Mayor Catcher. A question. Normally, when we schedule meetings outside of the normal schedule, we circulate a notice in advance asking. I didn't see that notice for these particular dates because I can make neither of those two dates.
Ms. Moulter?
Your Worship, to Councillor Kelly, I did check on that, and typically what happens is we look at the councillors' calendars to see what dates are available, and based on that, Jennifer will send out an email, and she did confirm that she did send out an email. Just she was waiting to see if there were any conflicts.
Then I missed it, my mistake, but nonetheless, I cannot make either of those dates.
Okay, so I guess just a question, because all council is supposed to be involved in these. Are we better just to look for new dates, Mr. Fleming?
Yeah, through your worship, we can go back and take another look at dates.
Okay.
I think that's fine. If we want to just withdraw the motion and then we can come back.
There is no motion
Oh,
yet.
You haven't accepted it, yeah.
I'd just like to add, and I know, Troy, that you reminded myself in particular many times to mark my calendar. It's my feeling that as a part-time counselor, the period between the fourth Tuesday and the second Tuesday is primarily my time. And if you would like, I'll mark each and every one of those periods throughout the 52 weeks as primarily my time. Doesn't mean I'm unavailable, but it does mean I would like to be asked. Otherwise, I'll mark them. And I know it seems a bit odd, but I do lead a busy life, and we like to get, I'm retired, I like to get out of town, and I like to do things when I can, and sometimes those are more or less on short notice as well. So just trying to help you guys out.
Okay, so I'm just going to say if nobody objects, we'll just remove this item then, and then they will come back and look for new dates as soon as possible. So just if there's no objections, so I'm not seeing any. So we'll just look for new dates and take this one off. Okay. All right. Next one we have is Fort Saskatchewan Youth Council appointment. Brenda Moulter presenting.
Your Worship and members of council, this item is presented following an interview for a new member of the Fort Saskatchewan Youth Council. Ava Bendick has been presented for appointment to the council. So that will be from a term commencing August 24th and expiring December 31st, 2023.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? If not, I'll take a motion. Councillor Blizzard.
Sure, I'll make a motion that council approve the appointment of Ava Bendick to the Fort Saskatchewan Youth Council for the balance of a 2-year term commencing April 24th, 2022 and expiring on December 31st, 2023.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to the motion?
Yeah, I did the interviewing of her. She seemed like she would be a great addition, and they were looking for some more high school youth. So if we can find a few more that are interested, that would be just awesome. But we're slowly growing this youth council.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Motion is open for discussion and debate. Not seeing any. Anything on close, Councillor Blizzard?
No.
Nothing. All right, I'll close the motion as presented. Please cast your vote. That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. The next item we have is 6.1, Bylaw C24-22 to amend the land use bylaw. Taryn Samara presenting, and Cherie, welcome.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and members of council. I am Terrence Samra, and I'm here to present Bylaw C24-22 that redistricts lands in Windsor Pointe Stage 7 for a neighborhood park. The lands to be redistricted are in Windsor Pointe community of Westpark, which is located west of Westpark Drive. This redistricting application was submitted by WSP on behalf of Landrex. Bylaw C24-22 redistricts lands as PR, Parks and Recreational District. The Windsor Pointe Stage 7 Park redistricting complies with the city's planning policies as outlined in the city's Municipal Development Plan. The Municipal Development Plan designates this area as developing neighborhood. The MDP articulates objectives for developing neighborhoods and sets out direction for area structure plans. The Westpark Area Structure Plan designates this area as low-density residential, as shown in yellow. Low-density residential development typically includes single detached housing, semi-detached housing, and multi-attached housing. This higher-level plan identifies general areas for residential, commercial, parks, and collector roads. The outline plan provides details such as block configuration, local road, lane, and walkway locations in more articulated areas for parks, utilities, and institutional uses. The Windsor Pointe outline plan designates this area as MR Park Space, as shown in green. Redistricting for park space in Windsor Pointe will provide amenity space for residents. The lands zoned as PR, Parks and Recreational District, are shown in green. They are located in the northeastern part of the Windsor Pointe community. The lot will accommodate a trail connection to the Dow Ball Diamonds. If approved, the park is to be developed in 2023. Should council give first reading to the bylaw, a public hearing will be advertised per the requirements of the Municipal Government Act. Landowners within 100 meters of the property will be mailed a notice. A copy of the proposed bylaw will be available on the city's website. The advertisement will be placed in the Fort Saskatchewan Record, and the target date for the public hearing is September 13th, 2022. And at this time, I'll answer any questions that council may have.
Great. Thank you very much, Taryn. Are there any questions on this first reading? Councillor Blizzard?
Yeah, just one. So what is planned for this? So when we do it, change it to Parks and Rec, is there a plan? Is there a playground? Is it a sports field? Is it just open grass?
Through your worship, Council Blizzard. Yeah, so there would be a plan in place that usually goes through the subdivision process, and any engineering details that would be approved, that's where you would determine what kind of park it would be. Okay. So in this case, it would just be open space, trees, a walking path, possibly a couple benches, things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Abatoye, questions?
Thank you for your presentation. Am I good to go? Okay. Thank you for your presentation. So my question is, they had a conditional approval based on getting a park in this area. So do we have like a standard number of parks we should have according to, based on net square hectare or based on the subdivision? I'm just wondering why they had a conditional approval as a result of a park.
Through your worship, Councillor Abtoy. So at the time when I guess through the subdivision process, we administration determined that a park would be needed. There's no, I guess, requirements when a park is needed, except through, say, an outline plan or any other higher level plans that we would have. The thing is, what administration learned through the subdivision process is that another stage may not be developed for this neighborhood. So it was probably better to get a park developed or constructed now instead of waiting at a later date, because the timeline for a development of another stage, that's something we don't know when that would happen.
Right, but you did answer my question partially, but do we have like a standard number of parks that need to be in an area as a result of the size? You get what I mean?
Through your worship to Councillor Abatoy, so the outline plan shows where the locations and the sizes, what sizes of the parks would be. With every subdivision, the MGA asks for up to 10% of municipal reserve land, and through the area structure planning and the outline planning, we decide what parks goes where. So, for example, in Windsor Pointe, there is a forested area in the southern portion, and we took that area as a municipal reserve to protect that forested area. That could be one reason for taking municipal reserve. And then at the outline plan stage, we felt that there should be a smaller park for the people who are in the northern portion or Windsor Pointe, and that's how this park came in place. So it was just the municipal reserve that the developer owed the municipality, and then how we distributed it.
Okay, so for every subdivisions, we require 10% municipal reserves. That's the standard.
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you. Councillor Kelly?
Yes, thank you. And I just want to follow up on Councillor Abatoy's line of questioning. I always assumed, and I guess maybe I'm wrong, that we would have a standard that set sort of a maximum limit walking distance from a resident to a green space or to a park area. And that would dictate how many parks we would have within a subdivision or unit of Fort Saskatchewan. Is that not true?
Through your worship to Councillor Kelly, yes, it is somewhat true. So in the open space master plan or the higher level planning, there are different kinds of parks for different reasons. So there are regional parks, neighborhood parks, thought lots. Thought lots would be scattered kind of closer together so that little kids could walk to it and stuff like that, where regional parks would be farther. I don't exactly know the distance at the top of my head, but that's all the thinking that goes at the time of area structure planning, where the parks would go and how they are distributed throughout the neighborhood.
without a lot of effort, Mr. Fleming, would it be possible to get a summary, 1 or 2 paragraphs maximum to council describing how it is we view the parks? And the regional or large parks I'm less worried about than the small community parks that young children would enjoy, for instance. And what our overall plan is to accommodate those within the city? Because I don't know.
Yes, Your Worship, we'll send some information on that. It's a little bit complex. It might need to be more than 1 or 2 paragraphs, but we can follow up with council
And I'm looking
provide the
for
information.
a basic answer, nothing detailed, but something to help my understanding. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. What is the wish of council? Councillor Harris?
I'd be prepared.
Just a second. Okay, go ahead.
I'd be prepared to put the motion on the floor.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would move that council give first reading of bylaw C-24-22 to amend land use bylaw C-2320 by redistricting part of the southwest quarter section of section 24, township 54, range 23, west 4th Meridian for urban reserve district to parks and recreation district, and further that a public hearing be scheduled.
Great, thank you. Would you like to speak in favor of your motion?
I will vote in favor, but I don't think anything more needs to be said.
Okay, thank you. The motion is open for discussion and debate on first reading. Not seeing anything. Anything on close?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, the motion is now closed for first reading. Please cast your vote. That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you. The next item we have is bylaw C-25-22, repealing bylaw C-394, the agreement for operation of Pioneer House, 3 readings. Okay.
Your Worship and members of council, I will be presenting bylaw C-25-22, which will repeal bylaw C-394, an agreement for the operation of Pioneer House. Bylaw C-14-21 was adopted back in May 2021, and bylaw C-2021 in August of last year. These bylaws repealed over 200 inactive bylaws, which authorized the municipality to enter into an agreement with another entity. At that time, the passing of these bylaws would have been a requirement under the Municipal Government Act. Bylaw C-3-94 should have been included in one of those repealing bylaws last year, but administration was still working with on a new agreement with Pioneer House. The city has entered into a new 5-year lease agreement with Pioneer House this year, and bylaw C-394 can now be repealed as it is obsolete. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions of Ms. Exley? Not seeing any. What is the wish of council? Need a motion? Oh, Councillor Abatoye, go ahead.
I'll make a motion that council gives first reading to bylaw C-25-22, which repeals bylaw C-3-94, and agreements for the operation of Pioneer House.
Okay, thank you. Do you wish to speak in favor of the motion?
Sure. I think this is just regular course of business. If we have bylaws that are obsolete or outdated, then it just makes sense to repeal them. So.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion and debate? Not seeing anything. Anything on close? You're
Nothing
good?
further.
All right, so I'll close the motion for first reading. Please cast your vote. Okay, thank you. That is carried unanimously. Would you like to continue?
Yes. I'll make a motion that council gives second reading to bylaw C-25-22, which repeals bylaw C-3-94, and agreements for the operation of Pioneer House.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything further to speak in favor?
Nothing further.
Anything further on discussion and debate? Not seeing anything. Anything on close?
Nothing.
Okay, the motion is now closed for second reading. Please cast your vote. That is carried unanimously. You may present it for unanimous consent.
The council gave unanimous consent to proceed with third reading bylaw C-25-22, which repeals bylaw C-3-24 and agreements for the operation of Pioneer House.
Thank you. The motion is now closed. Please cast your vote. That is carried unanimously. You may proceed.
Actually, before I proceed, I have one quick question for Ms. Exley, if that's okay. Just curious, if we don't repeal these bylaws, I mean, they're obsolete, what happens?
Oh, well,
Like, why is it necessary for us to go through this?
because under the MGA, we have to repeal a bylaw within a repealing bylaw. So we just want it off the books.
Okay, thank you. And so the final one, that council gave third reading to bylaw C-25-22, which repeals bylaw C-3-94 and agreements for the operation of Pioneer House.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have anything to speak in favor?
Nothing, thank you.
Anything further on discussion and debate? Nothing. I'll close the motion. Please cast your vote. That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. I'll go to notice of motions. I have one that I'm reading in, so I'll read mine in first, if that's okay. So at the September 13th, 2022 regular council meeting, I will bring forward the following motion. The council direct administration to bring forward a policy regarding trail bollards within the city, and that the policy include, but not be limited to, stating the intent and purpose of the bollards, outlining stakeholder access, policies and procedures for the use and expectations of bollard operation, and that the policy be brought back for consideration prior to the end of 2023. And I have presented that to administration. And I see Councillor Kelly, if you'd like to put your microphone, go ahead. Whoops, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Mayor Catrick, I have a quick question. What is a bollard and how are you referring to them in your motion, just so I understand?
The bollards are the things that are at the end of the trails that are supposed to prevent people accessing it, or from pedestrians just coming straight out. Those blue things or those black things.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It creates a chicane to slow traffic down or arrest traffic. Okay, thank you. My notice of motion. At the September 13, 2022 regular council meeting, I will bring forward the following motion. The motion is that council direct administration to initiate the January 2023 scheduled review of the city's user fees and charges policy FIN 009C and procedures FIN 009A with the intent to examine new principles for setting municipal fees that include, but not limited to, 1. Assessment of pricing practices to help set efficient fee structures to achieve a more efficient allocation of resources, both operating and capital, and sustainable revenue structures. 2. The integration of established economic concepts or principles for user fees in a municipal setting. And 3. The inclusion of methodologies to assist in quantifying benefits received. And that the review process will include an initial meeting with council to be held in Q1 23 prior to commencement of the work by administration, and that's not in the motion, but if you'd please add it, Cheryl. For council dialogue on user fees and charges policy principles and policy key factors, and that the report be brought back to council prior to April 15, 2023.
Okay, thank you. And that has been submitted to Ledge Services. All right, thank you. Are there any other notice of motions? Okay, not seeing any. Are there any points of interest? Not seeing any. Councillor inquiries of administration. Councillor Kelly, go ahead.
Thank you. My oldest daughter visited, and that's not the point of the question, but it caused me to spend some time driving her around the city, looking at the sites, as she hasn't been here for many years. During my travels today, I did notice, I'm going to suggest in the two areas of the zero lot lines that I looked at, and I didn't do a count, but for sure more than 50% of the houses in those developments have front gates. It was my understanding that that was contrary to our land use bylaw. Am I correct, Troy?
Through your worship, I'll actually ask Ms. Duguid-Smith to weigh in specifically on the gates, because I know we talked about it, but I can't remember what the outcome was. I will just let council know, though, that we've actually got a briefing note that's in its final stages to come to council about a few enforcement matters related to zero lot line properties, and it does include information on fencing. So
Okay, well, if that's the case, when do you anticipate getting that in front of council, Troy? Because certainly my question can wait. It's not imminent.
yeah, through your worship, the briefing note is pretty close. Probably the first week of September we'll get it out, and it's got information around enforcement.
Perfect. I can wait till then. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Harris, questions?
Yeah, I see that we were just talking about Windsor Pointe, and they've been building a sewage lift station down there, obviously, to service the subdivision. It kind of cuts into the green space that is adjacent to the ball field, but then there are residential homes that are going to be developed right behind it. So I'm curious as to when they're going to tidy that up, get it finished up, and what sort of separation there's going to be between the houses that are going to be backing onto it and the lift station itself. The one in Westpark is really quite smelly. It's really quite evident when you walk on the trail. I'm curious if this is a different kind of technology, and I'm curious as to how they're going to buffer it from the adjacent property owners, because there'll probably be 5 or 6 or 7 homes backing onto it with the subdivision ways. So I'd be curious to get an update on to when that's going to be finished and what's going to look like.
Through your worship, then we'll have to take that one away.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to come back at you on the one that I keep asking about all summer long. Speed limit east. I understand that they keep saying there's a problem with the lights, but do we have a date when that speed limit's going to be changed?
Yeah, through your worship, I don't have an actual date. I was told it would hopefully be by the end of the month. We're waiting for a contractor to change the timing of the yellow light at the intersection.
Okay. And the other one, I know you said the Walmart intersection by the end of this month. There's 1 week left. Do we anticipate that's going to happen?
Yeah, through your worship, I'll take that away and see if there's a new date on that one.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll talk about it after. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do, as long as nobody objects, I'm going to recess this portion of the meeting because I can't adjourn it because we have an emergency one and then we have to go on camera after. So as long as nobody objects, I'm just going to recess the meeting and we will go to the Emergency Advisory Committee, but I'm told they need 10 minutes in order to switch over. So we will recess. It's 3:30, so we'll be back here at 3:40 and we'll do the Emergency Advisory Committee. So we'll recess for 10 minutes and we'll be back here. Okay?